The United States just published its national security strategy, which mentions Eritrea, Ethiopia, and Somalia, and Horn of Africa in general. And this could actually be a major opportunity for Eritrea. For the first time in many years, Washington is now shifting away from aid and pressure toward investment and strategic partnerships. And what priorities are they mentioning there? They are mentioning energy, critical minerals, and maritime access. And Eritrea has, of course, all three. And if we understand this moment correctly, Eritrea could actually leverage its ports, its minerals, its a strategic location on the Red Sea for real economic impact and also for real strategic power on the Red Sea. Let's break this down on why this matters and how Eritrea could benefit from it. Welcome to the program. So, for context, this is not another policy paper. It's actually the United States' long term global strategy directing how they think, how they invest, negotiate, and even intervene. When something appears in the national security strategy, it becomes a guidance for the White House, for the State Department, for the Pentagon, for AFRICOM, for other funding agencies, and even private corporations. So when Africa gets mentioned, of course, we should pay attention. When the Horn of Africa, our region, gets mentioned, we should pay extra attention. And of course, in this case, when Eritrea is mentioned, we pay special attention. So, what's the big shift in US Africa policy? The most important change actually is this: the US now wants less aid and more investment, less humanitarian dependency and more trade, more minerals, energy, infrastructure, LNG, liquid natural gas, and commercial partnerships, business partnerships. And in short, Africa is now being reframed as a business opportunity and not a charity case. And countries that are stable, strategic, resource rich will, of course, get more attention. And I believe Eritrea fits this profile perfectly, more than a lot of people realize. Ethiopia, Eritrea, and Somalia are mentioned as focus areas. The national security strategy actually mentions or highlights preventing new conflicts, such as they could put it, Ethiopia, Eritrea, and Somalia. And I don't think this is a threat. It's actually a signal, and a good signal. It means Washington is now watching the Red Sea or the Horn of Africa geopolitics closely, which is good. It means any tension over ports and access and conflicts will get extra attention. And overall, the message they are sending is stability. Stability, and whoever provides more stability will have more leverage. And whoever is inviting new conflict and new chaos and will of course get the same attention. But Washington, the Trump administration is clearly saying their goal is to prevent new conflicts. And guess what? Eritrea is preventing new conflict. Ethiopia is inviting new conflict. There are no ifs and buts about this. It's very clear. Now, let's also be clear. To be a partner does not mean to be a client state. It's actually, for the first time in a long time, Eritrea is no longer invisible, and it's needed and it's not being impeded. It's actually identified as a potential good partner. And why is that? It's actually its independence is what gives it even more leverage. The fact that it could work with China and Russia and other powers independently, it actually gives it more leverage, not less. This actually makes it even a better, more interesting partner for the US, for what US strategy is calling for. And then, for the first time in a long time, circumstances that allowed Eritrea to negotiate from on its own terms, uh, and from a position of strength and not actually needing something, are aligning themselves. Now, what are we talking about here? Eritrea, that Eritrea has control and something that it could actually use. Definitely the strategic location, and there's a valuable, very valuable Red Sea coastline, more important than ever. We have that. The two deep water ports, Masawa and Asa, highly needed if they could be developed properly. Um, what Eritrea has in terms of minerals and other mineral related projects that could spin off are actually great, because we live in a world where critical minerals are needed more than ever. And more importantly, something that actually leverages it perfectly, something that differentiates it, and for the first time gives it a chance to shine, is the aid rejecting sovereignty first economic model it followed. Even the political model it followed, the self-reliance way of doing things, it actually gives Eritrea a great leverage, especially at this time, for it to differentiate itself, uh, why it could not be not only a great partner, but a great model for the region. So, what does this mean? It means that Eritrea has now a renewed opportunity to retell its own story, a renewed opportunity to rebrand itself on the global stage and also within the United States as well. A lot of key decision makers in the United States, including Congress and the State Department and the Pentagon and the White House, they have over the years have developed this notion, this image of Eritrea that is largely negative. But at this time, Eritrea can tell the most important, most interesting part of its story, which is this aid rejecting, self reliance, a country that focuses on social harmony and social justice and so on. So it's a great opportunity for Eritrea to differentiate itself and to tell its story better. Now, in a world where energy and minerals and are actually matter more than ideology. Eritrea actually, because of its strategic location, because of its a great story, and because of its results, makes it more interesting and useful partner. At the end of the day, not a country to be pitied and offered aid, but a country that is actually needed on the strategic negotiating table. So, what should Eritrea do to capitalize on this? I think there's a window of opportunity here, but windows close. So, for Eritrea to take advantage of this shift in the US, actually shift in US policy, Eritrea must present itself, I believe, primarily as a Red Sea security partner, as a reliable Red Sea security partner. Eritrea has a couple of leverages here. First, internally, it has stability, and it also has a military power to be reckoned with. So that makes it a reliable um, security partner any regional power or superpower would love to partner with. Second, there's the investment part. Given where the world economy is going, where minerals and AI become even more important, the minerals that Eritrea has could be very attractive, very lucrative, and very attractive. And the U.S. is also looking all over the world for minerals. Third is the regional logistics advantage that Eritrea has, especially the two ports, and not only the strategic location, but especially being having two deep water seaports, the potential for them to be developed, and so that they can serve Ethiopia and South Sudan and eastern part of Sudan, and of course Eritrea is great. So that there's a great opportunity there. And then to be this predictable diplomatic actor in the region, something that reliable means that at the end of the day, and not only as a security partner, but diplomatically as well. Given its relations with Sudan and Egypt and Somalia, Eritrea actually could be the go-to place for making things happen. So to recap, if Eritrea positions itself correctly at this time, it could definitely attract energy contracts that would boost its mining industry, give it an opportunity to upgrade the port of Massawa and Asab, and so that it becomes um, key economic hub for the region, and other dividends as well. Because once you start a partnership like this, there are a lot of things that I'm not even mentioning here. Moving on. I think there is also a clear window of opportunity for Ethiopia as well. At the end of the day, as far as Eritrea and the region is concerned, Ethiopia wants access to the sea. Eritrea is a gateway to that access. And then, according to this national security strategy, the US is clearly saying it wants stability, not confrontation. And so far, for the last 2 years, what Ethiopia has been trying to do is increase the volume of confrontation. That means negotiated access is the only way, not forced access. At the end of the day, economic model that I was listing would benefit Eritrea. Every one of them will pay dividends for Ethiopia as well. Peaceful Eritrea, prosperous Eritrea means the same thing for Ethiopia. And on the flip side of that, the conflict model that Ethiopia has been pushing will, at the end of the day, will weaken both countries, and it will create a vacuum. And what does vacuum create? It invites outsiders, it invites intervention, it invites more conflict and more intervention, which would make the conflict worse. That's what we have seen in Sudan, DRC, and other countries as well. So the message is clear. I'm glad the Trump administration is choosing clearly the way of uh, peace and stability, and both Eritrea and Ethiopia can definitely take advantage of that. But for Eritrea, the real factor is the Red Sea. The Red Sea is what is being referred to in this strategy document for the US. As we all know, the Red Sea is one of the most critical shipping corridors. 10 to 12% of global trade actually passes through that. And the US is sending a clear message. It wants the Red Sea to be stable, to be open, and to be secure. And I think Eritrea, among the other Red Sea countries, could definitely partner with the US to help the US do that as a global superpower. And that's what superpowers do, not on the Red Sea only, but everywhere. And the Trump administration is sending a clear message that as far as the Red Sea is concerned, they want stability. As far as the Horn of Africa is concerned, they want stability and everything to be open and secure. And Eritrea at this time gives it, once again, great leverage. And in that region, that uh, that alone is a huge advantage for Eritrea. So to summarize, here are my final takeaways. One, Africa is shifting from aid to investment. Great news for Africa, great news for Eritrea. Second, Eritrea holds valuable strategic assets that the US can use as part of its strategy. Also, great news for Eritrea. Um, Third, the US is watching the Horn closely, which is great because, at least according to what it looks like Ethiopia's strategy so far, it was with the hope that the world wasn't watching or wasn't paying attention. So this is actually good. Moving on, stability brings negotiating power. And as Eritreans, I think we are fortunate that Eritrea has that stability, which makes it a more interesting and a more useful partner for anyone. And at the end of the day, Eritrea can benefit from this opportunity. And it would do that not to fit US strategic interest, but if it plays for the long term, if it plays as part of its own long term strategy. We are indeed entering a moment where Eritrea could shape its own economic recovery, its own economic future, not as another aid recipient African country, but as a proud Red Sea regional power. That's all I have for today, but thank you for watching. The best way to support this channel is actually to engage with the content. So thank you for subscribing, liking, and sharing. and commenting. I read all your comments, and they definitely shape what I will be talking about next. So once again, thank you, and I will see you next time.